What's going on, y'all? That boy Gam back in the building, tapping in with y'all one more time. On here, I'm gonna have to go back to Joe Rogan, man. Joe Rogan, he done had two goats on there recently, man. First, he had Terrence Howard. Now he got Billy Carson, man. Billy Carson. Billy Carson is the GOAT, man. I gotta say, Billy Carson is the GOAT, man. When it comes to the ancient knowledge and all of that stuff, Billy Carson is the GOAT for it, man. So, Joe Rogan had Billy Carson on here for a whole podcast, about 3 hours. So if anybody who already hip to Billy Carson, you already know how he come with the ancient knowledge, and they got him on the big stage on Joe Rogan. So shout out to Billy Carson, man. I always be watching his stuff, and I be into the ancient cultures and civilizations and stuff like that, man. It's just interesting to me. So I'm gonna just play a little bit, man, and react to this.
Look, enormous people-looking things with like a humanoid with a tail sitting on their lap. Like, what is this? Just fiction?
Yeah.
Like, why would they detail this? And how do they have a representation of the solar system with the correct amount of planets and relatively the correct order and size? You know, it's not exact, but it's an artistic version of the real thing.
Yeah.
And how the hell 6,000, 5,000 years ago do they know that?
Yeah.
And what explanations do we have? Like, what's the conventional explanations when people tried to dismiss what they knew in ancient Sumer?
Well, the conventional explanation is always going to the term mythology. They throw mythology around, left and right to cover up the fact that they have no clue or idea. So they turn it into mythology so they can kind of say it's all fantasy and fairy tales, and this is how they express themselves or how they understand.
See, that's the thing, man. That's all we used to hear, is that all of these things was myths. They say, oh, it's a myth, it's a myth. But in my mind, I was always thinking, like, I don't know, all this stuff kind of go with the stories that's in the Bible. They talk about the fallen angels and the Nephilim. That's from the book of Enoch in the Bible. But it's also the same story that they tell in Greek mythology. So I'm saying,
the universe, it's all mythology, it's all fake, but in reality, it's not all fake. These people left behind such detailed records and information. It's a time capsule of information on stone tablets for us today to be able to decipher, break down, and understand, and that's what we're here to do now.
When you look at these ancient languages like cuneiform, can you read that? Do you know how to read it?
Yeah, a small amount of it, yeah. Studying it from books that I have bought right off of Amazon.
Oh.
Yeah, so basically you take a stick. It looks like a stick with a
man, Amazon got everything. He just said he bought it from Amazon, man. Shout out to Amazon, man.
kind of a curved end, right? Almost sharpened. It's called a stylus. And then
just like a stylus for an iPad.
Exactly, very similar, right? And then you take a piece of wet clay, and right before it's too wet or too dry, right in the middle stage, you then start wedging, making these incredible lines into the clay, and then from that you get this cuneiform text. So this text literally, some of the letters actually relate to complete ideas. But it's incredible work, and it takes a long time to do. And then you have to let this thing dry, and then it becomes stone. So, if people were supposed to be trying to worry about how they're going to get their next meal, shelter for the night, and all these kind of things, who has time to sit down and write these incredible works of art, like the Epic of Gilgamesh, for example?
Yeah.
So I think they really were writing down, and also they were transcribing information that was given to them by these quote-unquote gods with a lowercase g.
So
yeah, he got a point there, man. Think about how long was these stories, Epic of Gilgamesh, all this stuff was like crazy long and detailed. Why would somebody just do that for no reason? They didn't say it was a myth. They were saying it like an actual story.
you're reading things like the Epic of Gilgamesh. The Epic of Gilgamesh, for people who don't know, is one of the oldest versions of a lot of the stories that you hear in the Bible. Very similar to them. They seem to be. There always seems to be a great flood. There's a few heroes. There's angry gods. There's a bunch of stuff going on, and Zechariah Sitchin's work was like the most controversial on the Sumerian text, right?
Yes.
Because there's a whole website called sitchiniswrong.com. Like, people go crazy about him.
Yeah.
But when he starts talking about it, you when you read some of the things that they wrote, and when you see like some of the images that they created, the images that look like the double helix from DNA, and there's a bunch of the like that now we represent the caduceus, which represents pharmacies and drugs. Like that's the old version of an image of the double helix of DNA, or at least it looks super similar to that.
Oh, it definitely is, because it's referenced even in the Egyptian Book of the Dead and other ancient texts. So there's no coincidences here. Now, Zechariah Sitchin, I don't particularly go by his work, not because it's controversial. I believe he was one of the greatest researchers of all time. And the reason why is because he laid out so much information for us to begin to scratch our head and ask questions. But what I figured out was that by going through the UCLA CDLI online cuneiform digital library, say that fast 10 times, I was able to take stone tablets and decipher them myself. So anyone can go online to the UCLA CDLI online cuneiform digital library and read these stone tablets for themselves. You don't need Zechariah Sitchin. You don't need anyone else. And as I began...
See, like, how many people know that you can actually read those type of things for yourself? You got access to stone tablets, man. He talking about stuff that was written on stone tablets thousands of years ago, and you can read it right now. It's crazy.
Take these tablets down.
Do they have them transcribed, or are you reading the actual tablet?
They transcribe them. They actually transcribe them into English for you.
Is there controversy as far as, like, are there different versions of the transcription? Like, do some people think it's interpreted differently? Is like some debate about that?
Only where it comes...
Man, you see what that look like? Man, I'm gonna go back to that. This here, man, this is what they was writing on, man. Stone. You know what I'm saying? It go on and on. 3 hours of this type of conversation, man. So if you into ancient knowledge and all that stuff, or you know about Billy Carson or Joe Rogan, this would be a great thing to watch, man. Because like I say, Billy Carson the GOAT, man. When it comes to all that ancient knowledge, man, he the one that I go to listen to, man. He be going on excursions and everything, taking people to Egypt with him, where they go search through the pyramids and all kind of spots. It's crazy, man, but I ain't gonna hold y'all too long on this one, man. I'm just letting y'all know, y'all should go check this one out. Y'all go ahead, subscribe to the channel. Till next time, y'all, again, I'm tapping out.